Hey, what is going on, guys? It is Spot the Aussie here with Motorsport Manager Season 3, kicking off with an entirely new championship. We've been promoted to the European League. No, sorry, the Asian League from the European League. And in the background, you can probably see my girlfriend just doing a bit of homework for school. No, she doesn't go to school. She's a teacher at a school. Just to not get that confused. She's not that young, but she looks young, doesn't she? Where are you, Simi? Say hi, Simi. And let's have a look. Before we start getting into the races, I want to say I've heard a lot of your feedback throughout the videos. You want me to stop playing music in the background. You want the webcam to be this size. I can actually make it one size bigger if you want. You want me to keep doing the pre-race prep instead of just doing the races, so you get a bit of a taste of the game. And that's what we're going to do here. So we've kicked off, and I thought we'd start off directly with our interface for all of our team stats. As you can see, the car still a little woeful coming up into the higher league, and I thought that was going to be the case purely because when you jump up to a new league, those cars are obviously going to be better off anyway, right? So we're starting 8th, but more importantly, we're up against our old rivals from Season 1, Garuda Racing, in 9th. As for drivers, we are 3rd. For headquarters, we are 1st, but that's only going to come into effect if we can continue to upgrade the car as fast as we possibly can and churn out as many pieces to catch up in the car development stage. As for staff, we're 6th, and for sponsors, we're actually 1st, which is a surprise to me because our sponsors at the moment are 3 stars, 3 stars, 3 stars, 1 star, 3 star, 2 star. I've also got the sponsor appeal of level 4, as we did purchase the helipad to unlock level 5. I just need to get the car and the team a little bit more marketable, so hopefully in the next couple of weeks I'll be able to do that by the time one of these sponsors wears up, so we can grab a level 5 sponsor, get some extra cash to spend on the car itself. This is the new livery as well. I've gone for a red base instead of the white look, because I thought the white, when you looked at it on the track, it didn't look as appealing, so we've gone back to the traditional red and black with just white sponsorship tips. What else can we say? What else can we see? As for our job, we're really secure. Now, at the start of the season, the chairman emailed me and asked me where do we think we're going to come, and he said 6th, 7th, or 8th, and I've been optimistic to say 6th. I actually think we can do a lot better than that. I'm aiming for top 3 in this championship, remembering that this doesn't have a reverse grid, and we do have qualifying. Now, as for the car, what you'll notice is once the car is finished in development, which was today, as in 10 days before the Grand Prix, the parts are very unreliable, and that's what happens at the start of every season for every car. So I've got my head mechanic, Bobby Graves, who's also new to the team, working on the components that are going to be key, and for the crucial parts is acceleration, de-acceleration, and low-speed corners. And as for what parts I'm going to apply on which car, I'm just going to wait and see and do that just before the race. But as for the design of the new component, I will say this: the spec engine, the engine is just spec, so everyone has to run the same stock engine. You cannot upgrade it, you cannot do anything to it except for add to its reliability, so that's good for us. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to get our car in the best window for not this race but the race after, because if you do anything to the car in terms of its building any components, it takes 7 to 5 days for any of those parts. Brakes 5 days, front wing 7 days. So by the time it's ready to go, it's going to be very unreliable, and then you're going to have to try and repair it by the time you race. But because we have so many components, it's better off I start looking towards the future. So what I've done here is I've looked at the second round and seen what's crucial: top speed, acceleration, and low speed. Obviously we cannot get an engine, so it's just going to be acceleration and low speed. For the third round, it is low speed and acceleration. Fourth round, it is low speed corners. So the common theme here is low speed corners, and if I start designing that component for one car, I'll have 2 by the time we get to the second round, and it only takes 7 days. So that's what I want to work on as my key opponent to get underway, and that's going to be our strategy. On second thought, looking at this, if we add any of these components, they're all going to be risk level 1 except for now the component. Now what is the base? What is the base of this? What is the one that we have at the moment? Let's have a look. I want to make sure we're doing the right thing here. Front wing, 293, which isn't a big adjustment, is it? It's not at all. Let's have a look again. Gearbox. Gearbox has a lot more components to fix. It's going to be 11 days. You know what? I'm actually going to do a gearbox. I'm going to do a gearbox, and then I'm going to do 2 front wings to get them prepped. I think that's the way to go. Now, if we add 25 max, that's not what we want. How about we add 10 acceleration and 10 reliability? And that's going to be ready for the second round. It's going to be ready for round 2 and 3. We can do that. We can make it work. We can get 1 engine done and 2 front wings done by that time. So there's obviously a lot of thinking by the time I'm doing it. Unfortunately, we can't even afford the components, so scrap that idea altogether. Can we afford a front wing? No, we can't. In fact, you know what? Forget what I was just about to say. So let's move along. We can't do anything there regardless. Now, as for the components, I'm giving a more bigger emphasis on the ones that are crucial for this race and trying to get them up as much as they possibly can, because they will be the ones deteriorating the fastest in our opening race. What I'll do is I'll let this repair for like 5 days, and then I'll see what else needs to be queued and then switch the queue around. Who else can we go to? Headquarters, pretty much the same, except now we've got an updated scouting facility, which lets us scout a little bit more. A tour center, which was there from round 1, and the helipad, which unlocks level 5 sponsors. It's going to benefit us in possibly 5 to 6 weeks. As for the team, let's look specifically at the drives. 2 new drivers. I've gone with Enrique Lara, who I would advise anyone to grab. 760,000 a race, but if you look at the actual driver herself, she is a paid driver, and I'm going to be getting 439,000, which makes her about $300,000 to $400,000 each race, plus outstanding stats. Look at that overtaking: 20, consistency 16, fitness 18, smoothness 10. These other stats are also based on permanent, as you can see, permanent and temporary. Now, the just married is temporary. That means markability and morale's up, so that's going to disappear. But more importantly, the permanent ones are there. Morale is up, and 100% markability, which is amazing. As for the other chap, what is his first name? Tiavo Patananing. I might just call him Party, just for this series, because it's going to be a little bit different. I've gone for another paid driver, $508,000. Rock solid focus, religious minister, which gets rid of everything, but that's going to disappear in 14 weeks, so that's not a big deal. As you can see, his overtaking is a little lackluster, but everything else, braking, cornering, smoothness, adaptability, consistency, fitness, focus, all up there, which I'm expecting him to be very, possibly better than Enrique in qualifying, depending upon the split in parts. Now, as for the third driver, I have gone with no driver and just let that person sit there for 1,000. I do not believe in having a third tier driver sit there on a wage. It's just a waste of money. For staff, everyone's the same coming into this year except Bobby Graves. I've negotiated a pretty stellar cost per race contract for 22 months, so I expect him to go to the season after. We actually, if you watch the pre-season video for this one, which is at the end of last season, there are a lot of people I went to and approached, but I just found that his upgrades, super soft tires wear more slowly. The sweet spots for qualifying is really going to benefit us. Now, as for scouting, we've continually scouted. We've scouted a lot of people. There's not much to say there. It's just, the only thing I would advise is if you're starting a new season yourself, make sure you're scouting from day one. And the names I'd look for, actually, you know what? I will put down in the description or a comment the names you'd look for in the best stats, because I imagine it's going to be the same for everyone, and that will allow you to unlock the best drivers in the game as early as possible. Now, you're probably wondering, where is Ahmed from last season? When I went to renew his contract now, he wanted like triple the amount of money because he was now the reigning Euro champion, and I just didn't think it was worth having him on here for the 2 drivers that I've got. So I'm pretty happy with our lineup. Finances, I've decided to go with low for next year's car, because at the end of the day, if I pick high, it's an extra, $600,000 to $700,000. That money is just being held. Now, I don't technically have to spend that money, and I'd still have it at the end of the year depending upon what I decide to do, but I'd rather get that money now, spend it on the development of the car, be a little bit more competitive than what we are. And just so you know, in the preseason as well, as for the car, I'd set up £30 million for improving the car in going into the season. So we've hit the car with the best suppliers as much as we possibly can to put us in the right window frame. But that's pretty much it, and let's get underway and hit next. Roll the dates a little bit forward. I did say when we get about 5-6 days in, I'm going to pause it just to see how the car reliability is at the moment. And I'm pretty happy that the gearbox is at 60%. So what is the next component we want to look at? Front wing is the other thing that's really crucial. 51. Brakes 54. Geez, it's going to be a really... We're going to have to definitely pit. Now, the big thing I learnt from last year, or last season I should say, was that in the first race, I had 2 DNFs in Season 2. Because I didn't pit. I wanted to risk it, and they blew. This year, I'm actually going to pit them, despite losing spots, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of DNFs this opening race, and if we can pit them regardless, I think that's going to put us in a better window for later on the championship, which is what we want. Now, it is a lot longer, this calendar, I believe. I believe it's 16 laps. I'm going to have to check the guide. Anyway, I think that's it for now, but there might only be 10. I'll check a bit later when we get the full schedule up. Mail, anything important there? No, let me move the microphone to a better spot. There we go. And I just want to check that it's on properly. Yes, it is. Well, that was the first thing I usually check, is the mic back in the right section. I always have to move things around while I'm watching movies or anything on my screen. But yeah, here we go, here's the calendar. So it is 1 of 11 rounds. And it looks like a pretty cool track, this Singapore one. As for sponsorship, now, I'm going to go for 9th or above. I think that will be the way to go. Look at our cost. It's going to be really expensive, isn't it? With all the drivers and upkeep. But that's okay, we'll have to play it by ear. That's what we're willing to do. Let's have a look. I think I want to stack Enrique Lara's car at first, just to see how all the parts fit into the car and give her the better car. That's literally a 1% difference in reliability. Again, that's 300, that's fine, it's a stock part. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to make sure one car is able to get ahead as far as possible. It's not so much the performance, it's the reliability of the car that is going to be the downfall. As you can see, all the parts come out the same. 83, yep, this is going to be one of those war of attrition races. So let's go to next. Fit all parts, content. Why you give me such a rubbish car? Yeah, you don't have much of a choice, unfortunately. That's what we've got, so that's what we're going to be racing with. Now, I will do the full practice and qualifying and record it for this video. I want you guys to let me know if you prefer that, or if you prefer that I skip it and just get straight into the race. I know some people do, some people don't, but this might take a little bit longer than what it usually does, because practice and qualifying is basically a secondary session on what we're used to doing. So it looks like we're going to be entering in the rain. Now the feedback for both drivers is average compared to Ahmed from last season, but that's alright, we're going to have to deal with it. Now what do we want to do? It looks like a very square track, so I'm thinking we go gear ratios up a little bit, get the downforce low. At first I don't want to change much. We only have 6 set of tyres each. Luckily, it's going to be raining straight away, because I feel like we could run through these and not have anything for the race. As for Thierry, I might go the other way. I might get the gears going a bit. Look at that difference between the two cars, mechanic's recommendation. Based on that, I might also put Lara's car in the same window. I wonder if that's how it works. I don't think it would, but let's just do it and just chuck it randomly around there. Let's just take practice, see how we go. It's going to be the full session. Now, I've learned a bit of a trick. Instead of completing your laps, you can always bring them in one lap earlier. Get the feedback from the driver to know if it's good or bad, and then change it for the next lap. That way you get more laps and more feedback sessions in before they go. Always go to attack and overtake mode for driving, for engine and driving style, because you want them to do the fastest lap possible, get more laps in. I will fast forward it. I haven't been to this track before. It looks pretty cool. Looking at the graphics, as you can see, I've got it on ultra mode. And yeah, it's got a bit of it's got both components, doesn't it? It's got a slow section, but it also has a very fast section to it as well. It's slow but fast. So handling is spot on by our boy Party straight off the bat. Handling feels awesome already by Lara, so it looks like going in the same window for both. It's been great. As you can see here, it looks like the weather goes straight back to being dry after the initial part. So I'm going to bring them in now, rather than go around one more time and adjust the car from there, because that will give me feedback and I can already start setting up the car. So that's a bit of a hot tip I got for you guys. Wow, this is going to be a first. I've got Party's car at 96% straight from the get-go. I've never been able to do that before. Let's see, let's wriggle it around a little bit. Get them both on the exact marker they were before. That looks about right. Let's try and see what happens from that. I feel like if I adjust it too much, let's go straight back on intermediates. Yeah, it will be wet enough. I don't mind using the intermediates depending upon the weather. You know what? I might. Yeah, let's just chuck them on. Go straight out. How many laps? Just do that session. Lara, what are we doing? We're at 80%. Great, great. Cool. Well, that might be the case. So we only want to adjust this ever so slightly. We don't want a big adjustment except for the speed balance. So, I'm going to go back on your tyres. If you guys have any tips yourself that you want to share with everyone, down below, whether it be drivers you're looking to scout, tips to do on the rain, tips you do in practice yourself, setting up tips, let me know in the section below. As you can see, the track has already dried out. Downforce fills a bit up, so I will literally bring him in next session. How's the rest of the day? Well, yeah, it looks like the tyre temp, the track is going to come towards us a little bit more. Round and round they go. So what do we have here? 96%. Okay, good. Getting her in the window. Let's look at Arnie's car first. So it looks like we've gone the wrong way with the... Look at the difference between that, getting excellent on the understeer handling. It's literally just a pin drop, isn't it? But we need to adjust for the downforce anyway. Let's lighten it up a little bit. I think that will be right. Let's try that, and let's go out on super softs. And I'm going to keep sending him out purely on that tyre, just so he gets a bonus. How are we going with your car though? It could be a case of that. We're at 96%, so we're pretty close to getting it in the window. Choice go and let's push both of you. So it's not important to set a lap here, it's just important to make sure that we're getting in the setup, the car in the window before qualifying. Now just so you know, this is going to be the first qualifying I've ever done. It looks very finicky how you play with the swipe to get them in the right window to make sure they're sent out with clear air as well. So it's going to be a first for me learning that as well. Let's see what the feedback is going to be here before sending out one more time. Yeah, this feels superb. Loving the handling. So both cars, because they're set up very similar and the performance of the parts are very similar, like a very similar setup, which is going to be very easy for us down the track to continue to set up on. Alright, he's on excellent, excellent, excellent. So all I'm going to do now is send him out the same tyres to do... How much time we got left? Enough time to go up many laps. As for Lara, knowledge gain, medium. Wow, literally, it's literally just tugging away a little bit here, trying to get that car in that window, isn't it? That could be it. So 2 laps, tyres new. Let's get them to go around and then put rubber on the ground. Now, I'm sending them out, even though it's going to get wet, I'm sending them out in those tyres so they start to get more points in super soft tyres. By doing that, they will get a bonus for that should I choose to go that way. And I think if the track is going to be dry on race day, that's going to be the right setup. We want to make sure we get a bonus for practicing on super soft, so that's why we're doing it this way. That's why we're second handling on those tyres. She loves the handling. That's great news. Hopefully they'll get around for another lap. One more lap would be fantastic. So this will be the final lap for the session, for us at least. Downforce feels bang on. We already knew that, I believe. Downforce, yes we did, because that's the wings. Now I'm thinking, guys, if I put my face cam bigger, it's going to take up about that much of the window, and I can't move it around out of the corner, which is a bit annoying. There we go, 19th and 20th. You know, I kind of expected that anyway, so that's alright. 2 cars to go. Mika and Laka. Extremely off the pace, but we were doing those laps in wet conditions on dry tyres. As you can see, there's a big adjustment when you race on the wrong set of tyres. Qualifying 9th or above is our job. We want intermediate tyres. Qualifying trim. Intermediate tyres and also qualifying trim as well. Okay. So if we go the other way, see how that gets closer and closer and the more optimum it gets. So if we go one more like that, literally one more like that, that is going to put a perfect setup on. As for the tyre choice, what are we doing? It's not going to rain, so we're going to go straight on the soft tyres. Yes, we are. This feels, there's nothing to change here, 98%. It's not worth adjusting, is it? Going to go straight onto the softs as well and send them both out. 9th or above for a bonus as well. I didn't realise you get a bonus for qualifying. We're going to take our own qualifying. This is going to be first for me. So please try to be as patient as you possibly can while I send out both cars. I'll do them individually one by one. Let's get them out first. It is a 10-minute session, so I'm going to do one at the start just to get a bit of a go at how this works. Look at that, you have to play with the scale a little bit just to get the tyre temps up. And then when it comes to the track grip, the track will get more grippier as the session goes. They definitely take their time around here, don't they, while they start to warm up the car. Brakes are starting to come on, tyres not so much. Where are we? Almost around halfway, so we want to start heating these up really fast, don't we? Oh, they actually start a little bit before. That's something to learn. So, and then they go hard on both. They automatically go hard on both. And then here goes Lara, and okay, starting my lap now for Party. And Party's going to start the party. Party for Artie. Party boy. We're just going to fast forward because there's no point just not doing it because we can't play with it. So that's something to know. Now, just before the last corner, that's when it auto locks in and I can no longer adjust it. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool to have. So let's see where we come out. We're only 0.3 seconds off. Not bad. Party is 1.2 seconds off, but I think if we can get those tyres in the right window just a little bit more, we'll be set. We'll be set to start it off. Now I imagine our times, yeah, look at that, our times went back by about 2 seconds already. That is huge. What I want to do is, provide the track is going to remain clear, is wait until a little bit later in the session, and then send them back out, just so they get clear air and the track is at the optimum range for doing a fast lap. Now I might send them back out again on the super softs. Oops, I did not want to send her out. That's alright. I'll slow it down a little bit here. Takes a while to warm up these tyres, doesn't it? It's good just to see what it's like on these tyres because they're already ripped. There we go, there we go, there we go, there we go. Good. Overheated. So the brakes are a little bit overheated, but the tyres are good. Let's see how much faster this lap becomes because of that. And any second now, I'm going to send out Party to do one more session. I might send him out now because it does take a little bit to get around the track. I'm going to send him out on fresh rubber as well. And we're going to stop watching Lara because there's no point watching Lara. She's gotten a little bit faster. She's plus 0.7 off in the first sector. As for Party, have we picked a good window for him to be out? Let's slow him down a little bit just to get the cars ahead of him clear. Now we have a bit of open space. Let's get those tyres in. Come on, tyres, come on. Come on, warm up, warm up. This is going to be an art to learn, isn't it? Making sure those brakes don't overheat. Can we get him in the window? Oh, perfect for tyre temp, overheated for brake temp. Just though, if it's overheated by a little bit, it must go overheated completely. So Lara is currently coming in. She will have to remain 9th. She will not get another lap in at this stage, unfortunately. The track is going to keep dripping itself up. This is where the grip comes into its window. Party's going to go around. Let's watch this lap. He comes through under the tunnel. Takes a right-hand turn. Wouldn't this be a magnificent track to spectate at? Look at it. It's beautiful. It's got its own ferry wharfs, the people at the ferry. It's like an opera house in the middle there, but it's not the opera house. He goes around the right bend and he's going to pick up some speed, hopefully keeping his foot flat on the floor. Goes around the left-hand bend, holds it tight. Lara's down in the 10th, so Artie needs to get into 9th for us to get our qualifying bonus. Will he do it? This is going to be it. He comes around the final bend for his final time around the track. Boots it in. Picks up 4th position. Oh my god, that is a huge improvement. That is why it's important to go out when the track is at its optimum grip level. And it looks like it's just starting to level out now. And why it's really important to get those tyre bands in there. So we have a little bit of it's going to be a little bit more skill to try and get that exactly in the window. We picked the perfect window to go out. We got him in the right spot, so he wasn't held up by anyone. Now there is still 3 cars behind him still to qualify, so the worst we can come is 7th. But I'm really happy with that. To come 4th and 12th with the cars that are 7th best on the grid, or 8th best on the grid. That is a huge result for us. So, you know, I'm really satisfied with that. 110%. Now, where are we? Holtz is going to pick up first position, and I imagine she's also going to get a bonus for that. So just so you know, guys, it looks like the sponsorship deals become half if you get into your position. So Party, despite not having the better car, comes up triumphant. And as for the weather, it looks like it's going to be a nice sunny day. And we want to auto pick intermediate tyres. Intermediate tyres as well. It looks like our strategy using the softs and the wet didn't add to their bonus, so the car has to be working in their bonus window. Now, it's an 18 lap race. Tyre choice. 7 to 9 laps. Does that change based on the driver? I think it would. 8 to 10 laps. So because Party's probably a little bit more of a consistent driver, he gets 8 to 10 laps rather than the standard 7 to 9 that Lara had. So what we might do is we might push Artie to go the full 9 laps, like do half a race and then do one stop. See how he goes. We are going to go down to 10 laps of fuel exactly, so we can get 9 in the end bit. 1 lap of fuel equals 0.26 seconds a lap. Because he's starting 4th, it's really important to get out ahead as fast as it possibly can. And I don't know how the AI is going to interact with these longer races. Could a car go the full distance, the full 18 laps? I don't know. Maybe. But we'll have to wait and see. As for Lara, we might do something a little bit different here. We might go 7 laps, and then 4. As in, what we'll do is, we'll get her to do 5 laps, then do 7, and then do, you know, whatever's left, 6, 7 laps after that. Just to see if she can make up any positions, because she is really good at overtaking as per her stats. And we will need to pit. That is the other thing. Actually, you know what? Because both cars are going to need to pit, we're going to put them on attack mode. We might change Party's race strat. He's not going to last 9 laps. He will not last 9 laps based on that. So we're going to have to adjust him as well. Let's just do 6. And then come in and repair them. And like I said, we are actually going to repair the cars as we see fit. So let's run that, both in attack mode, because they will use up the tyres. You know, if they last 9, 7, 8 laps, they can attack straight off the bat. But I want to run the fuel burn on medium, just to kick it off. No need to spur out any extra fuel. We'll balance that as the race goes on. We'll let them be as aggressive as they possibly want, but we will do it our way. So let's get this race underway. So here is the 3rd season of Motorsport Manager with SpotTheOzzie cracking off now, and we're underway. Party gets off a little bit dry off the line. He stalled a little bit, goes back into 5th. Lara already up in a 12th and making some spots off the line as well. It's been a relatively good start, and I can already see the gap to 4th already gaining a little bit, but we are catching up, and we go slip back into 4th around the outside of De Graaf. That was a great move. De Graaf is able to fight back, and we start slipping and sliding back ourselves back in a 4th position, and a gap starts to form out there. So we are punching above our weight here. Lara moves back in to 16th. So let's do a full grid section. As you can see, if you push tab, everyone's strategy, very aggressive at the start, fighting for grid positions. We don't want to do that. We just want to play it safe, see how everyone goes. We've got Munro, Holtz, De Graaf, Party, Flores, Cruz, Fox, De Wolf, Sevilla, Brandlich. If I'm actually pronouncing these names incorrectly, please pardon me. My European name pronunciation is quite horrible. Mikhailovic. I might just call him Mika, short for Mika Hakkinen. Look at that photo though. Look at those glasses. Terrible. Florida or Flow Rider. I don't know if that's like an in-house joke in parks. So, Cruz is one of the people who someone said you should scout early in the game to try and pick up. And if that is correct, if that is Garuda Racing used to have... Yeah, it is. So Garuda Racing used to have... I can't remember from... It was Beauchamp and someone else. So Beauchamp retired, Cruz must have taken their place. Now you can technically scout Cruz and then recruit him into your own team. Let's look at the park conditions. Actually, the park conditions aren't as bad as what I thought. Gonna be honest, but that just means we can top these cars up as we start to go around. I'm really impressed that Party is able to hold on to 4th position at the moment. We might do, when we stop, we might just do a quick condition stop just to get up, you know, for example, the rear wing if it looks slow, just to get up the brakes so we're not having to do that later in the race. Lara currently fighting back in 16th position. Fighting hard though, which is what we want to see. Tyre temps are really high. Not getting the same boost. So if we put you back on a push, that's what they're both saying. If they're both saying that, I'm going to put them back on the high mode so they're not starting to just burn the tyres out. They still got a lot of meat in them. Lara has 2 laps to go after here. Let's look at the fuel load when she crosses. I think she'll have enough. Yep, she was already crossed that last lap. So let's go on to high mode for the fuel. We've still got push mode for the tyres. We're going to have to pit her not next lap, but the one after. Party able to get into 4th position and clear air. Look at the gap he's got, 3 seconds, but it's 3 seconds back to him from 3rd position. Virtual safety car. What does this mean? Where? Does that mean everyone has to stop? Is that what that means? 24 seconds left. Has someone crashed? John Stoddard crashes. John Stoddard has obviously been poached from our European rival championship team and now up. So she crashes. Virtual safety car. Does that just mean everyone slows down or we cannot pass? I actually do not know. I feel like she's slowing down, but I don't know. So we're back to green. I haven't seen the virtual safety car before. We're back to green. And Party's going to do that with a lap on that amount. So let's put him into overtake mode. He has excess fuel. How's his parts going? His parts are going fine. Lara coming around. Where is Lara? Lara coming around into position 7th. Into overtake mode. Both in overtake mode now. Lara fighting for a position. Currently getting held up. Coming into 7th spot. Makes a move on Flores, who's just come out of the pits on a fresh set of tyres. On a cold, fresh set of tyres, I should say. Our cars don't seem to be guzzling up fuel as much as they used to, which is great for us. We're going to have to pit you very soon. There's Party coming around. He's got 1.2 laps of fuel, so I'm going to put you on to high mode. And Lara, we are definitely going to pit you this lap. Let's have a look. Let's put you back on the sauce. Fueling options. How much did we say we wanted to do? 7. We'll put it on 13. Let's go fast strategy. Why not? As for your parts, wow, the reliability of the components are actually holding in there. There is no need to fix anything. There's no need to go 10%. Let's just keep driving, see if the car comes back to us. Party moves up into 2nd due to all the pits. Lara's going to actually fight Flores for that position before she goes in the pits. Good on her for doing that. Let's put you into attack mode. Lara's fueling, goes up to 7 laps. There was a mistake. Tyres were good. Leaves the pits in 15th position. So she hasn't gained anything because she got that position back when John started to crash. She was a bit miserable with the fuel just then. We're going to pit for Party now. What are we going to do? We're going to go to a set of new tyres. We're going to go to 7 laps. Strategy. I'm going to do balanced. I'm going to do balance. I really don't want to risk any issues. 9%. 9%. I think the fact that we have really good members as mechanics, it doesn't push our percentage much down. For 12%, not worth it. for 15% not worth it. So let's just let it go, and if we have to fix it next pit stop, we will. Comes in with 0.2 laps of fuel. Let's go back on the medium. Have a look at the tyres. Filling him up. Goes to 8 laps. Good. I think we only said 7. They got 8. 4 green tyres and comes out in 3rd position. That was rapid, thanks guys. So we might do that a little bit more often. Play it safe, get out of the pits, make sure we get out. So we're in 3rd. Holtz decides to pit as well. So Holtz doing what, 3 stops this race? That surprises me to a little bit, but that's okay. We're happy with that. And let's just go into a medium mode. We're not really under threat from anyone. We're not really going to be fighting Holtz, I don't believe. And we've got good clean air to just do our lap times if we see fit. We will punch to an overtake mode should we see fit, going a little bit later, and I might get him into the push window to keep his tyre temps about that range. Now let's have a look for the... Nope, not going to rain. And the grip of the track's going to go up while it gets hotter and hotter each lap. So that's why we're going to push. If we keep it on attack, it will melt the tyres, and we might be doing 1 extra lap. So that's alright than we did in that last session. Start going easy on them now, I agree. We've got 5 laps to go on them. In fact, let's just put you to neutral and see what that does if it cools them down a little bit. Lara currently coming in 13th, and I'm pretty happy with that. So there's nothing to complain about just yet. And she seems to be gaining on the front runners. Larson and Zarat just ahead of her. Now, as for Party, his overtaking sucks, but his lap times are probably going to be really consistent. So I'm really happy for him just to sit there and keep turning and burning laps. And see that gap. Moves into 2nd position due to a early pit stop. And that gap to Monroe is closing ever so slightly. His tyres are through the roof now. Go back to neutral. Tyre grip has gone up. Track temp is coming up. Lara, where are you currently going? 4 laps to go, that's alright. In 11th spot with a few people that have pitted so far. So we're looking pretty good for a first race. You know, I've got to admit, I thought we're going to be in a little bit of trouble with this car balance, but I think the fact that we've got good drivers and good staff has really benefited us in the off-season. And that's only going to get better. You know, we can only go up from here. We just need to keep cashing in that money, getting that car in a bit more of an aggressive window, and just keep watching these guys. I don't like the fact when people fast forward because I feel like they miss things. That's when mistakes happen. A couple of my parts looking a little bit rough. Let's have a look. So when we come in next, we're going to pit for a rear wing and also the brakes. We might do front wing depending upon where the car is at and how many laps we have to go. So we'll just keep monitoring that. Lara's feeling the brakes starting to go, so we might get her to start pushing because we might pit her 1 lap earlier than we were intending. So we just want to start, you know, burning up that fuel. We'll get her to come in, check the rear wing, do the brakes, maybe front wing. Really depends upon how the car is going. So that's good. We've learned from our mistakes last time. They are going to push us back in the order in terms of where we're coming, but that's okay. I might do the same with Hardy because he's got the fuel load. Let's just start attacking. Let's look at pitting you very shortly. We're not in a very crucial, unreliable window yet, so I'm happy to keep doing that at the moment. And Lara coming around. Let's push you. Let's push you. Let's push you and pit you this lap. What lap are we on? We're on lap 11. Will the tyres be able to hold in there? Yes, they will. Alright, let's go in. We've got 1 set of soft tyres left. As for the laps remaining, 7.8 is what we want. It's going to take 6.2 seconds just to get that up, but it's going to be worth it. 6.3 seconds to do brakes. Do we want to do the front wing? How much have we dropped? Technically, The front wing has dropped 21% in a matter of 11 laps. 53. You know what? I think I'm good with just those 2 adjustments. I think we can get away with that, and at the end of the race, we'll be in a very squeaky clean window to get them through. I'm going to do a balanced stop. Fuel is good. Tyres are new. Let us pit. Now we are watching our good friend Party come around with 3 laps of fuel in his tank. He's currently coming first after those pit stops, and Parks has gone down 1 lap at the moment. Do we want to pit him now? Yes, we do. Look at that. The car is starting to fall apart on him. Unfortunately, he had the most unreliable car out of the 2. And somehow he seems to be leading the race. That's how it works sometimes. We don't have to stop for fuel as long because we've got plenty of fuel in the gas chamber. 6.8. That will be enough to come by. 6 laps remaining after pit stop. Will there be? Yes, there will be. 6.8. That's fine. Front wing. Rear. Rear. Now, if we do gearbox, that's going to absolutely kill us. So let's just do front wing, suspension, brakes, and also rear wing. Pitch strategy is going to be balanced just to get him outside because there's going to be a lot more parts to fix. That's going to push him down quite significantly. But what we know now is that we are competitive, so I'm not worried about it. I'm just worried about these guys finishing. Lara comes out with excessive fuel. Not what we wanted, but seems to be a glitch in this game. We're filling up 1 extra lap, but it shouldn't be. I'm not sure why, but that's alright. I think a lot of people are going to keep pushing their cars to the end with those bad tyre, bad mechanical cars. Let's look through the field. 1 row, no issues. Holtz, no issues. Flaws, no issues. Fox has an issue. 9th. Ingledo, I might just call him Ingle instead of Ingledo. Let's look at how Party comes out of the pits. It has taken him 34 seconds to do that stop, and he's going to come out in 4th position with excess fuel, fresh tyres, and we are going to drive the wheels off that car. So let's move back into neutral for you because you have an extra lap or 2, you're already down at 83%. For Lara, let's go. Sorry, for Party, let's go back to push. Now let's look at those condition parts. Yep, that's fine. They'll make it through. Those parts are good to go, so we can continue to push. The gearbox is a little chunky, but 16 seconds is probably not worth it. And I don't think something's going to fail on that last little bit. Here's hoping, fingers crossed. Can you take a look? I already have. I've decided to keep you out. I think we're going to be alright. I think losing that 16 seconds isn't that going to be that big an issue. He's currently all over the gearbox now of Cruz from Garuda Racing. Hopefully he can make something stick. He seems to be gaining on the straights, but losing on the quick little turnover parts of the acceleration. And that's, you know, obviously because his gearbox is a little bit weak. So is Lara. How is she going at the moment? She still has excess fuel. I don't know if she does. 4 laps, 5 laps? No, she doesn't. Let's go back to medium. 4 laps to go. Yes, you do. Go back to high. Go back to high. How is your tyres going? They're in a very good window. Party's still fighting for that 4th. As I said, his lowest stat is overtaking, unfortunately, but once he overtakes, he should be being able to get in the clear. He's all over his back, just except for those acceleration components. And that's the worry. If you fix his gearbox and put him too far in the back, he will not be able to recover those positions as fast as Lara would have been. So they're currently 5th and 6th now after that stop. Starting to go through the tyres and hot dogs. Let's go back to neutral. We will go back to push in a second. We're already in neutral. There's not much we can do. We want them to keep pushing. Party goes up into 4th position. Cruz currently having a bit of a technical fault with his car, and we are now chasing Fox, who's also having a technical fault. 2nd place Forrest is also having a technical fault, and Monroe, who has 0 technical faults as we're speaking. So what is Lara up to? Lara is currently coming 7th, fighting the good fight. 3 laps to go, so we've got that into medium. Party has, what does he have? He's running that amount of fuel, that should be enough. Just going to put him back into high mode. He is currently gaining on Fox very fast. 2-second gap. Now it's down to 1.9. And it's just, he's continually pulling him back. He's pulling him back every lap. The condition of the parts, as they start to wear down, the car becomes slower and slower. It's not just when they get into that unreliable phase, it's just as the cars go. So they start to decrease as they become less reliable, which is good for us because we are fighting now. He has 2 and a bit laps of fuel to go, so he's right on the limit going medium, and we can start to push. We might go to high mode for Lara. How is third place strategy going? They are going completely into conservative mode, and I think we might be able to eat her up and get ourselves a podium spot for our first race. That would be huge. That would be huge, and she's starting to smoke. That's what we want to see. Smoke it up, baby. Make it rain. Now his gearbox is starting to go unreliable. I'm going to ignore that. He goes straight through in a 3rd position. Front wing, let's ignore that. We're going to have to because we are just 1 lap away. Now as for Party, because the gap is 9 seconds and it's staying, I'm going to put you into a very conservative driving style and also low on the fuel just so it doesn't use up any of the components as fast. As for Lara, we're going to get you to keep on driving the wheels off that car. I will keep monitoring that gap in case Flores starts to drop enough for us to change that strategy, but 9 seconds in front, it's simply just not worth it. Lara goes up into 6th. Fox driving around with that mechanical issue, and we are now burning through. Artem has now ran out of fuel. I don't know who that is. Lara's still driving around, being followed by De Graaf, who's also got another technical issue. And will we be able to make up another spot here? I'm watching this. I want to go to high mode. Tyres are on 23%. Coming around. I just want to make sure we don't lose that 7th position. This is a very good finish for us. We might be actually coming first in the Constructors' Championship post his first race as a great result. Artie comes around, takes his first podium of the season. You've got to be cheering. Pop out their champagne. Simi, there she is. I don't know where she came from. She just hit up 3rd and 6th for season 3. High five, Simi. Where is the champagne? Where is the champagne showers? Make it rain. Make it rain. And, you know, I've got to be happy with that. I am stoked. 3rd spot, podium. We learnt from last season where we blew up both cars in the first race to then fix them enough that they're not going to blow up in that race, and really the war of attrition, like I said, came to us. And we're in the best spot. I don't know how team standings as a result, because it's not 20 points for winner and vice versa. We got 5 points. We are 5 points behind the first place team, so we do not want to have a DNF. If you have a DNF in this championship, you are going to be in a lot of trouble. Let's have a look. Pole position. Oh, okay. So while we finished 6th, we got 1 point. Sorry, correction. It is 10, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nina simply got 2 extra bonus points for her pole position. 2 bonus points, not 1, but 2. So really important to qualify the car. And we're going to be checking the cars. Let's see if anyone else gets picked. Surely they don't. No, they shouldn't have. It's not the start of the season. It was a Sony thing. Anyway, guys, that has been round 1. A successful round 1 of Season 3 of the Championship. It has been a great round so far. Please give me all your feedback, because I am going to be adjusting this video to whatever you see fit. Do you want the cam bigger? We can make it a little bit bigger. Do you want... what do you want? Do you want practice and qualifying in there as well? That means the videos are going to be so much longer, but I'm happy to do it. So let me know, and you know, we'll get this show on the road. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and be sure to hit that subscribe button to check out for round 2 when it comes around. Cheers.